And there's a rose in a misted love, and the eagle flies with the dove. And if you can't be with the one you love, then love the one you will.
Stephen is surprisingly powerful right now.
Graham Nash has got this wonderful sensibility and clarity of vision.
Look down, look down, look down, get your hands to the water.
I love Crosby. He's not only a very good friend, but a great, unique musician.
Pull someone out of the sea. And so begins the task I have dreaded the coming of for so long. You who are on the road must have a code that you can't live by, 'cause it appears to be a long, long time. But long, long time before the dawn. We wish you peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Crosby, Stephen Stills, Graham Nash.
Not a contest.
Ow! Hey, Peter. How are you? So,
Good to have you here. This gave some introduction on what's going on right now. You're on tour again. I mean, you're on tour all the time with solo projects and duo things. But is this the mothership, Crosby, Stills, and Nash?
yeah. It's the one we can count on.
It was the one we designated when we started.
Yeah.
It was the whole idea in the first place. We were trying to think of the name, you know, and all the animals were taken. So we decided to use our names. And why? Well, because we can use it as a mothership, you see, and keep coming and going and often doing our own things. And as it become the most reliant.
Yeah.
And basically, it's the music. We just keep writing new music. And it gets to be very difficult to know which piece of music to play in the show. Because I think between us, we have like 900 songs, you know? And what can you do, you know? We know that you want to hear Guinevere. We know you want to hear Sweet Judy Blue Eyes. We know you want to hear Our House. But our audience fully expect to hear a song that we wrote this morning. You know? I mean, seriously. We have 3 or 4 new songs in the show. And as long as we keep writing, we're going to have to keep coming to Berlin.
But why do I have to? But I, of course, I have to sing Love the One You're With every time.
It's
Why
too
not?
good a song, Stephen. You can't not.
It's become this albatross.
No.
My pan to promiscuity, which actually it isn't, but
Yeah,
there
but-
are certain ones that I just would Can't we trade off one? Something.
It's the best chorus anybody ever wrote. There's a rose in a fisted glove.
Well, that's the Battle of Hastings.
It's beautiful.
1066.
Beautiful.
So what do you do after a show? Do you decide to change the set for the next show? Will it be always changes within the set list?
We
Pretty
have
much.
we have mouse races.
No.
We put the names of the songs on the backs of little mice, and we let them
Which
go
ones win?
at one end of the room.
That's
and
funny.
whichever ones get to the other side of the room first, those are the songs we do. Works every time.
We do change it because we like to, and also we change how we do the song. You know, we don't.
On tour, you change arrangements on tour?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. We change some of them drastically. But there's, you know, there are little chances you can take, and we usually do.
So on this tour, what will be the lineup? It's the three of you, of course, and how many guys backing you, drums, bass, keys?
I don't know, 15, 20, how many? It seems like it grow every set.
Yeah, it does. But
Actually, we have.
we're musicians and we're having a great time playing together. So it's not like we do an hour and get out of there. I mean, our shows are like 2.5 hours long.
At least.
You know,
At
20 odd songs. It's
I know.
You did your homework.
And so do my feet.
It's you know, it's a good thing to have to, you know, work to contain it, work to cut it back. It's nice to have plenty to choose from, and I'm watching that. There's 3 things in that we've already replaced with newer stuff. You know, that's a good thing.
You released a great DVD set last year in 2012, which was lots of material. It was sort of career spanning. Could one top that? Will there be another DVD from this year's tour?
I don't know, but I'll tell you, there's a good example of what Stephen was talking about and what David was talking about. During rehearsal for that show, our other guitar player that helps us out, Shane Fontaine, started to play a song of Stephen's, As I Come of Age, on the guitar. And Stephen went, wait a second.
Let's do
that. And we did it that night. Right? So that's an example of what we're saying. It's a very spontaneous band.
And we do have the luxury of having, it's one of the few good things about having been around this long, is that we have the luxury of a very large catalog.
Very large.
Okay, tomorrow night you play Berlin, the Max-Schmeling-Halle.
Yeah.
The last time I experienced you was more than 20 years ago. You played at the Berlin Wall at the Brandenburg Gate.
That's right.
Yeah.
3 days after the wall started to come down.
Well, what happened is this, that
We were overjoyed.
we were already on tour, and we did a benefit in the General Assembly building at the United Nations. And we heard that the wall was coming down. So Stephen said,
I'm going.
We're halfway here, you know, because we're basically in Los Angeles and we were in New York. Let's go. So we did, right? And one of the interesting things that happened is that the media found out that we were coming to Berlin, and so they wanted to hear us on the radio. So we went to a radio station, and I had a song on an album called "Chipping Away" that the 3 of us did with James Taylor, about chipping walls down around your heart, around your loved ones, around your town, you know. And so we played that on the radio, and then we had an interesting idea. We knew that we were going to have to speak at the Brandenburg Gate the next day.
But they wouldn't give us a sound system. They wouldn't allow us to have a sound system. So
we invited everybody in the radio audience to bring their transistor radios with them and have this radio station play Chipping Away at a certain time, and we lip-synced and sang live to the record with all these kids holding up transistor radios.
Unbelievable.
It probably seems odd to you that Americans would care that much, but the wall was an obscenity to us. And we had been here before. We had gone to Checkpoint Charlie. We'd gone to Brandenburg Gate. And we looked across, and you see, Achtung, meinen. and you see the boats in the river, and you see the guards, and they're looking at you. And you could feel what it was like. Bars on all the windows of all the houses.
Yeah.
So for it to come down was a great joy to us. I remember standing there with a screwdriver and a hammer, banging away to get a piece of it myself.
Yeah, our luggage was really heavy on the way home.
And one of the interesting things that you must realize is that music has brought down many walls, and it started in the Bible with Joshua bringing the wall down by playing music against it, trumpets, whatever it was, to bring the wall down.
Louis Armstrong, actually.
Scotty?
It was Louis Armstrong brought down.
The walls of Jericho.
The truth is, that's an important point. It wasn't a battalion of tanks that brought it down. It wasn't artillery that brought it down. It was ideas going over it. And that's what brought it down. Enough about the wall.
Okay. I believe you know a lot about the power of music, and we, your fans, know that as well. But the power carries on. So this was past, but you're still pretty active. You're on tour, you write new songs, and I've learned you work on a new album, David, coming out, being scheduled for next year. That's true?
Keep your fingers crossed.
One of the high points for us is a new song that I wrote with David's son, our keyboard player, James Raymond, who is here tonight, and we'll probably speak a little later about the CSN app that's out. When we were protesting the Vietnam War, many, many years ago, there was one image that was spread around the world on every newspaper, and it was the Tibetan monk that burned himself to death in protest of the Vietnam War. And it was on, as I said, every single newspaper. What you might not realize is that in the last year, 128 Tibetan monks have burned themselves to death because of the conflict between the Tibetan people and the Chinese people. And we wrote a song about it called Burning for the Buddha. And it's one of the high points for us musically because it's brand new, it says something very important, and we're really enjoying doing it.
Yeah, and yes, there is going to be a solo record coming out next year, early in the year. And it's a big deal for me. I'm very excited. The songs are good. A lot of them I wrote with my son James. I haven't done it in quite a while. It's a pretty exciting thing to do.
But it will be a solo album. It won't be CPR.
Nobody really makes a solo record.
Yeah, exactly.
That's really a falsehood. Because unless you can push the button and run in the other room and play,
I've done that.
You really do work with other people. In this case, particularly since James and I write together, the way Graham writes with him too, he's an immensely talented guy. There's several people, involved in the creation of a piece of work, but we'll put my name on the front of it so that people buy it.
That's what I mean. I want to read your name on the cover.
It's not like a marriage. I mean, I'm not going to go, so you're seeing other people?
No, that's the point of the freedom to
I have
do
a
that.
blues record coming out with other people.
Yeah,
It's a good thing.
Nobody could be more supportive than them.
I was astonished. You do the rights with Kenny Wayne Shepherd and the great Barry Goldberg.
Yeah.
And you just did you're the last of the three of you. Your box set recently, Carry On. All three boxes being produced by Graham, that's right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Graham made them all three.
So, how long did it take to choose the songs? On Carry On your box set.
Well, the
There's so many unreleased
process went
versions.
down like this. Obviously, it was Stephen's record, and whatever Stephen wanted was going to be there. But we also made it because of history. I wanted somebody in 100 years' time to, if they were curious at all about the three of us, you could put on any one of the box sets, and you could get a real good idea of who these people were. And we designed them to be sold together as three, not just individuals. And it took me and Joel Bernstein 9 years to do all three box sets.
And they're beautiful.
Joel Bernstein, I can't give him enough credit. He's basically the tunnel rat who would go into the archives and pick through all of his tapes and find something that was palatable. Because believe me, I have enough tape in a vault to cover this stage and to the height of perhaps 6 meters.
And we had to go
And
through
listen
them
to
all.
every bit of it.
Yeah, because
And there's garbage in there for hours. And Joe Bernstein has ears of titanium.
Yeah,
And so does he. And then we bring it to me. And I'd say, oh, yeah, that one. No, I like that one better. Blah, blah, blah. That meeting would take 15 minutes, and they would scurry away.
and bring back more.
And bring back
because
more.
the truth is, you didn't want to lose a jewel. I didn't want, after the box set was completed, to find something that was magnificent that we didn't listen to because of a pile of tapes the size of this room. So we had to listen to basically everything that Stephen had recorded.
Which was a lot.
It's a lot.
Graham deserves the credit more even than Joel or anyone else. He really worked very hard on all 3 of the box sets, and he has the patience and the focus to accomplish that kind of thing. Certainly not me.
So Graham, if it took 9 years to do the box sets, how long did it take to write your autobiography? It will be released this autumn, Wild Tales?
In this last 2 days, I did the final edit. It didn't take me that long because we're storytellers and we have stories forever about who we played with, how we started, what made us get into music in the first place, the events that we've been at, the music we made, the people that we pissed off,
Many of the stories we can actually tell you.
Yes. And so
And some of them are completely different. Recollections.
No, he's absolutely true. For instance, we disagree about the first time that we ever sang together.
But I've already written the paragraph of mine that actually
I know,
says...
but my book comes out in September.
And mine will come out after it.
After it.
So I have the
After
last
it.
word.
It doesn't matter.
Which is by design, by the way.
So this is the one question I really love to ask. Was it Mama Cass' house or was it Joni Mitchell's house?
It was Joni.
It was Joni?
It was Mama Cass's.
It was Mama Cass.
I would have never have sung with these guys for the first time in front of Joni Mitchell. She intimidated me too much.
That's his opinion.
Well, they're like, never mind.
Yes.
Everyone has one. It's
thought
not an opinion, it's a smellophonic friggin' cinematography miracle of a memory.
I thought I would find out, but okay.
And we'll have this argument till the day we die.
However,
She's probably
it's a
next
democratic group, and 2 of us believe one way, and 1 of us believes the other way.
But we still have the veto power. No, we don't have the veto power. That's the thing. His is a lovely story, and I'm just going to counter it with my recollection and say he was completely in love and didn't remember the first time we met, which was at Cass's. I remember what he was wearing. I remember the color of the light. Who was there?
Now, you see, I know it completely differently. Right? The first
What's
time
your
I
next
ever...
question?
Next question is...
Yeah, I mean, if you want to waste the whole hour,
No,
go ahead,
it's
because
okay.
I ain't giving an inch.
I'm just fascinated because that's definitely the one question I always wanted to ask you guys, and no answer again. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Graham, if you would have taken photos right then, you would have approved. But that happened later in your life. You're a great photographer. You just opened an exhibition in Germany, face-to-face.
In Bonn,
Bonn.
yes.
Yeah.
I've been a photographer longer than I've been a musician. I've been a photographer since I was 10 years old, with an Agfa camera.
He's not only a photographer, he's a brilliant photographer. He got into the digital printing of photographs early and so deeply that his company, Nash Editions, was noted all through the entire world of photography, so much so that they took his printer and put it in the Smithsonian Institute.
So
Oh, wait a sec.
So do you take shots on tour, Graham?
I'm always waiting for Elvis to come back. And I can't...
Well, I wish Mama Cass would come back.
Yeah.
I bet you do.
Or that John Sebastian hadn't been so stoned and in the swimming pool.
Yeah, I've been taking photographs a long time. And to me, there's no difference between music and photography. To me, it's all the same energy. Which way do you want to point it? Do you want to make paintings? Do you want to sculpt something? Do you want to write a piece of music? Do you want to take a photograph? It's all the same, really.
What story do you want to tell? And he tells beautiful stories with his photograph.
Well, I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to show you a photograph of, two kittens with a ball of wool. I mean,
But you
I mean, if anybody loves kittens out there, I apologize, but you know what I mean? I want a photograph to inform you, to thrill you, to make you feel differently about your fellow human being. I want to write songs the same way. I don't want to waste your time because, as Crosby puts it very often and is the subject of one of our new songs that we do in the show, time is really what we have. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, they can't buy 1 second of time, no matter how rich they are. We have to use every second the best way we can.
I need an entire another lifetime. I've got 5 languages I want to learn, one of them yours. I've got 3 or 4 major sciences I want to learn, and no time.
You do have time. Well, it is getting shorter, I must admit.
I think, human beings should have a 200-year lifespan so that we can do, so we can achieve more. There's so much.
I mean, look what
I
happened
wanna
to
learn.
Apple computers since the early 80s. Look how far they've come. What is it going to be like in 100 years? Wow, I wish I could be around to see it. I probably won't be. But man, can you imagine what it's going to be like in 1,000 years? Stunning.
So that leads me exactly to the next point, because you're pretty much up with the times. There's an app for the iPad.
Yes.
Crosby, Stills, Nash app for the iPad. How did that happen? Who did that develop?
Well, you know what? The person that was mainly responsible for the app is David's son James and Dutch friends of David and ours.
I think that it's going to be an idea that will be emulated by a lot of people. The iPad is such a wonderful gizmo. It's so much fun. And an awful lot of us use it an awful lot. And to have an app on it that specifically tells you, all kinds of stuff. There's a lot of what they call proprietary content, a lot of stuff that we have that nobody else has. And we put it in there.
But it's interactive too, because we're communicators. That's what we do. We communicate ideas. And therefore, it can't be a one-way conversation. We need to know what fans think. I mean, we very often in the past used to ask our fans what they would like to hear in a set, and we would incorporate their ideas into our set. We want to know what our fans think.
That's risky.
Are you a walking ad for Apple, Crosby? Look at you.
Yes, I am. I brought it all.
He's even shaped like an apple. Look at him.
David, somebody told me I've learned that you also Twitter and that you answer your followers, that you will answer their questions on the app. Is that true?
I will. Encouraging just exactly what Graham said. Dialogue between us and the people who like our music is a very positive thing because you get feedback. When you make art, it's sort of like writing down a poem on a piece of paper, folding it up and throwing it into a glider, and throwing it out of a high-rise window. You have no idea where it lands. You have no idea how it's interpreted. You have no idea what it means to someone. Yeah. And if you can get it to be a two-way street, then you can fine-tune the process of trying to communicate ideas to people. Now, ideas are the most powerful things on the planet. And music is a fantastic medium for communicating ideas. So if we can get better at it, we want to. And yes, that's something about the app that we're doing. I'll answer any question you want. I won't guarantee you'll like the answer, but I will. On our app, there'll be a way that you can ask me anything you want.
So you're living, in a way, in the best of both worlds. In the new digital world, you live, in a way, you live in the best of both worlds. In the new digital world, yeah?
Yeah,
digital
world.
With the iPad and iTunes and stuff like that, but also with an acoustic guitar at home, writing music and then being analog.
Yeah, we create music analog. You know, we sit down with an acoustic guitar at our home and play. That's pretty analog. But the digital world, the funniest thing was that the record companies didn't know what the word means. They didn't have a clue. They thought it was like, a different kind of packaging. And so they had no idea that it meant you could copy things endlessly, and they didn't see that one coming.
And they also didn't see Napster coming. And that program kind of destroyed the record industry because they didn't believe it and they didn't get on what we call the bandwagon soon enough.
Well,
and look what happened. Steve Jobs comes along, he goes, you know what? We can change this. We can make it easier. We can make it user-friendly. We can make music available for a fixed price, and people will not feel guilty about ripping it off, Because what used to happen is that when we make albums, we want every single track to be great. But a lot of people made albums where only maybe 2, maybe 3 tracks were great. And the kids were saying, why am I paying $20 for an album and I only really want these 3 tracks? So they figured out a way to only get those 3 tracks. And it ended up, with iTunes, basically.
iTunes fan.
Well, see, I have another take on that, and that is that only until the difference between analog and digital is analog is clay, and digital is Legos. And until the Legos get so small and so dense that it can actually reproduce the harmonic frequencies that the human body feels and sees, does it sound as big or
But it's getting closer and closer and closer.
Yeah.
Well, when I hear it, I'll let you know.
Well,
That's a good analogy, by the way.
It's a great analogy.
That's a very good analogy.
Do you take a share on new music using new media like clouds or Spotify or stuff? We try to check out what the new bands are after, what they sound like.
Oh, yeah.
Is that a good possibility?
Yeah,
to
that
check out
and
new
YouTube.
music? Yeah.
YouTube is a tremendous way to catch fragments of, because they connect things, that look, here's that same person that I like, here they are playing with someone else. And you go there and, I did it yesterday. I'm looking at a thing of Bonnie Raitt, and I see, here's Bonnie Raitt singing with Mark Cohen, who I think is one of the best writers alive, maybe one of the 2 best in the world. And so I click on that, and it's a whole new experience of 2 of these people who I dearly love, who I think are 2 of the best singers alive. And you do experience a lot of music that would not be readily available to you otherwise.
It's more easy to get to know the stuff.
Yeah.
There are just certain precautions you have to take. Like, I won't let Facebook in my house. And I have a piece of black tape over the camera at the top of my computer. Yeah. Because, as we obviously now know, everyone knows everything. So at least you can do is protect your own damned man cave.
I don't care. I got no secrets.
It is astounding what's going on, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's astounding that every single phone call and email and video and website that you visit is logged by the American government.
Well,
it's kind of scary.
Not just
is
the
that
American.
a surprise to you, though? I mean,
No.
you knew that.
Not at all.
The easy thing to do is write about an autobiography, put everything in there, and then they have nothing to tell.
Yeah.
Of course, they'll make stuff up.
But
They did that to you.
That's the dangerous part, is that they can actually manipulate the information and
Yeah, I mean, they
create a new life for you if you
Right.
get on their bad side.
They could have you send an email that you never sent and use it as evidence against you.
and
Mark my word, it's coming.
And people that get in positions of power tend to go a little batshit anyway. Let's remember
That's why whistleblowers
Bob
are so
Haldeman.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We need whistleblowers. We need people like Bradley Manning.
Yes!
You got a song about that.
Yes, he did. He wrote a song about Bradley Manning that was
With James.
with James, again, a brilliant song, really strong, really strong.
But it's terrifying what they're doing to Bradley Manning.
It's terrifying what they're doing to Snowden. They're trying to shift the focus. They're
course.
not. They say, "Oh, don't talk about the fact we were tapping everybody. Talk about Snowden. He's a traitor, bad guy. Oh, terrible."
Right.
No,
Has he gotten
no.
out of that?
But
Has he-
over here, we don't want to say anything about the fact that we were listening to the entire. Of course, every government in the world is doing it. It's the nature of power. Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. It's not a new thing.
Okay, getting back to music, don't get me wrong, but no, I think it's very interesting and very strong opinions. Yeah. Again, tomorrow night, you play Berlin. Anything special for that show, or anything special for any show, or is it like being on tour?
There are some shows where, like for instance, if we play in France, there's a song that Graham and I sing in French, so that we always do it if we're playing in France. If we could speak German, we would have a song in German. German is difficult.
I think one of the most important things
I
is
don't know,
that
Mozart did well in it.
Yes.
people are gonna enjoy what we do because we are enjoying what we do.
Yeah.
And it shows. We feel a great responsibility, as we were talking about before, to play the songs that you love, right? Which is
And the ones that they live as well.
Right. No, I meant you love. I was talking to the audience because it's difficult to earn money. And when you put money down to buy a ticket to see us, we want you to go home happy. We want you to go home satisfied. We want you to go home knowing that we want to be there playing music for you. It's very important to us, and we're doing it better now than we have done in years. It must be a process of maturing, of getting a little older, but the things that used to piss us off about each other are meaningless. The music is far more important than our personal relationships. And we've always known that. We've gotten back to that in the last few years, and it's a joy.
That and the fact that we have the best band we have ever had.
That's right.
That helps.
One last question from my side before we probably get into question and answer with the audience. But the guys of the Apple Store Berlin asked me to ask that. Seeing the trailer, you've got these 3 magic carpets. Will they be on stage on any show?
Mm-hmm. Every show.
Every show.
Since the day we started, we're on a magic carpet.
Right.
Actually, Ahmed came into the studio on a magic carpet and said, "Want to go for a ride?"
Yeah.
I always wait for that you just disappear after a show.
Wouldn't it be fantastic?
We'd love it. If you can arrange it.
I try my best.
Could I
Okay.
disappear to Kauai?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, I believe there could be some questions among the audience.
We hope.
If there's a chance, I mean, you've got the chance, as I did, to ask Crosby, Stills, and Nash a question. I would take it. Okay, please.
Yes. Hello.
Hi.
I'm a bit nervous. I'm sorry for that.
I'm nervous too, don't worry.
Yes.
You don't sound it.
I have a question, and don't get me wrong, please. I love your music. I listen to your music since I was 14, I think. And
What was that, yesterday?
Yes, it feels like yesterday. But, and I carry it deep in my heart, and I give it to my kids too. But I have a question. Are you guys tired of doing autograms to your fans?
Of doing autographs?
Autographs?
Yes.
Here's what the deal is.
Yes.
They both do it. I don't. Here's the reason. It used to be that fans would come up and ask us for autographs. Now, if you're in a major city, there are professionals, and they have a trunk full of pictures of movie stars, album covers that they bought for 50 cents, empty, and they are getting you to sign it so they can sell it. So it's a difficult thing. There is a mechanism that my wife thought up for me, which is when they say, no, I'm your biggest fan, really, sign this. And I say, okay, who wrote Wooden Ships? And they go, beep. I generally don't sign now because most of the people who walk up to us outside of a hotel or outside of a concert are professionals. And I don't see why I should support them by signing stuff. These guys are more generous than I am and kinder.
Well, you might miss a real fan.
That's true.
You might miss somebody whose life you can change. Let me tell you a quick story. In 1960, the Everly Brothers came to Manchester in my hometown.
Great story.
Me and Alan Clark were teenagers. We had acoustic guitars. We used to do Everly Brothers songs. We decided that we were going to meet them after the show. We found out which hotel they were staying at, and we waited on the steps of the Midland Hotel in Manchester until 1:30 in the morning. They came, and instead of just signing and going into the hotel, they stood and talked to me and Alan Clark for what to me felt like days. It was probably 2 minutes. But those 2 minutes changed my life. And I realized that we're all trying to touch the flame. Whatever passion you have, you want to find the best people that do that and get as close without being burned. So I always do it because you never know who a true fan really is.
I try my best, except if I'm going to be late, and then he's going to yell at me.
No, I never yell at you. Well, not today.
I guess it's my turn.
Okay, sorry.
In the 80s, one of your songs was featured in the movie called Amazing Grace and Chuck, but I've never found that on any record. How can I get it?
Which song?
Amazing Grace and Chuck.
That
It
song
was in the
we put
movie. I don't
yeah.
know the title, Chuck's Lament or something like that.
It was a good song.
Yeah.
Is it not available on net, YouTube, anything like that?
No.
No, I checked Amazon too, and nothing.
How interesting.
I have it, and for €5.
All
No.
right, deal.
I'm only kidding. I don't have it, but I remember it, and thank you for knowing about it.
Thank you.
We'll try and find it for you.
All right.
Okay.
How is the 1974 tour stuff coming on? When are we likely to see it, and how is it sounding? That's one for Graham.
It was originally, he's talking about the stadium tour that Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young did in 1974. We did 37 shows where the average audience attendance was over 50,000 people in 1974. And the Beatles had done Shea Stadium, of course, and the Rolling Stones had done a couple of big gigs, but no group in history ever did an entire tour of those kind of places. We recorded 9 shows. The shows were an average of 3.5 hours, 38 songs in a show. Joel Bernstein and I and Stanley Johnson, our engineer, went through every single show, chose what we considered to be the best tracks, the best take, the one that had the groove, the one that had the emotional experience. Ran it through David and Stephen and Neil. They loved what we had chosen, and I'm maybe 12 mixes from completion. It was supposed to come out in August, but we kept finding gems. I just found a song of Neil Young's. It's 1 minute long, about Richard Nixon and about Rosemary Woods, who was his secretary, that was responsible for that 18-minute gap on the tape, right?
You mean this one?
Yeah. So I keep finding stuff that I can't leave off the record. I just found an incredible Guinevere that David and I did. I can't leave it off the record. So it's going to probably come out in early spring of 2014. It's going to have a 128-page book, some incredible shots of us, and that's the status of it. I'm about 12 mixes from completion.
And the music is amazing.
Actually, I do not have a question. I have a statement, an expression. I'm surprised that I have the chance to talk to you, but I just wanted to let you know that I'm one amongst many, many others. And you did not waste your time, never. And in the early days of the 70s, you've been the music, the most important music for me. And it was like touching my heart. And it was going with me through all the years, Many things, they faded into the past. But this is still with me. And I'm very happy to be able to see you tomorrow and hear you tomorrow. And you do a great job. And
Fantastic.
I'm very happy to meet you. And I want you to know, it's all heard and felt by
Fantastic.
the people.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Honestly, I don't know how to top this.
No, I think that's it.
I have one story. Please, Stephen. It's very humbling to hear that. We were in Buenos Aires, Argentina, and I was just walking in the street, and this fellow had been to the show the night before, and he came up and grabbed me, and just said, "That was fantastic, and why haven't you been here before so long?" And I was a little astonished by overwhelmed. He had tears in his eyes, and I was a little embarrassed. And he said, "You don't understand. During the times when we were having the disappeared ones, you were the soundtrack that got us through that dark time." And I'll take that one to my grave.
And what that lady said is absolutely true. We want to touch your heart. We don't want to, be fluff. We don't want to be unimportant. We want to talk about issues that affect us as people, and you are people. We are the same people. We just happen to do something very special, and we know that. And what Stephen said is well taken. Thank you so much for saying that. We do recognize what we do, and we want to keep doing it for the rest of our lives.
And tomorrow's show is dedicated to you.
Thank you, Peter.
Gentlemen, thank you so much. It was moving for me as well. I don't want to top this, but I agree on every word.
Thank you.
I definitely do. Thank you so much for being here. One more question?
I have one question. Yes, I do.
Speak louder.
Hello. Okay, so as a voice of over 40 years of awareness of even political correctness, going forward now, is there any song that you have written specifically or are willing to write or thinking in the process of what is going on with our world organizations and our
I'll tell you
farming?
exactly.
You know where I'm going.
It's a song of Crosby's from many, many years ago. We want to know who's running this planet. We want to know what their names are. We want to know the Koch brothers. We want to know Richard Murdoch. We want to know the financiers. We want to know the bankers. We want to know who's running this country.
Because mostly we don't. Mostly you don't know their name.
But we keep asking the question, what are their names? A Crosby song. So yes, we will continue to write. We wake up every morning. We get on with our lives. We get affected by what happens to us. We were affected when we found out that the Tibetan monks had burned themselves to death. We were affected when we found out what was happening to Bradley Manning and probably is going to happen to Snowden. We're affected by life. We're the same as you. We are your voice.
When we're good.
I have a question. Can we hear a song today from you? With guitar or without guitars?
We only have one song that we do without guitar, and it's only two of us. So no, I don't think we can do it here.
Only vocal is okay.
But come tomorrow.
Come tomorrow. See
Our
the
songs
show.
speak better for us than we do.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming. We really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Auf Wiedersehen.